two boys walked into the party known as the Sabbath, where the dark side of humanity found complete release. There were no laws or moral constraints in this place. They indulged in their own revelry within this space. Fudo and Asuka came here with the purpose of finding traces of demons. Asuka grabbed a broken bottle and plunged into the crowd. He attacked anyone he saw, for the sight of blood could lure demons to appear, and Asuka's real goal was to turn his best friend Fudo into the most powerful demon of all. But just a day ago, Fudo was nothing but a weak and timid coward. In the school's track team, he always finished last. He couldn't even outrun the girls. Ever since Fudo's parents went abroad, he had been staying at Mickey's house. Mickey was the most beautiful girl in school, and her kind and genuine nature made her very popular. However, Fudo was despised and considered a crybaby. As the sun set, Mickey lay on the wooden bridge by the river. A few delinquents approached, and Mickey tried to leave the scene, but they blocked her way. That's when Fudo appeared, claiming he happened to pass by, though he was actually afraid of Mickey being bullied, and had been following her all along. The delinquents were about to teach Fudo a lesson, when a sports car came speeding by. It was Fudo's friend Asuka. They hadn't seen each other in 10 years. The delinquents still wanted to pick on them, but Asuka pulled out a submachine gun, and quickly took Fudo away. Asuka also revealed the purpose of their journey. Last month, he and his professor visited an ancient tribal village for research, but when he returned to his lodging at night, he found the professor tapping on something. The professor seemed to have transformed. He grabbed a hoe and attacked Asuka. Thankfully, Asuka was prepared with a handgun, and the gunshot woke the professor up. He immediately poured gasoline on himself, claiming to have a demon inside him. With those words, he ignited gasoline on his body. This was Asuka's first time learning about the existence of demons in the world. Although no one had witnessed demon attacks on humans yet, it was because demons resided within people's bodies. They continuously sought out exceptional hosts to merge with, accumulating energy and gradually evolving. For humans, defeating demons wasn't an impossibility, as long as a human, when possessed, can suppress the willpower of the demon with their own. They can wield the power of the demon and their own human will. The professor wanted to prove this point, but unfortunately, he failed. Now, mysterious deaths were occurring worldwide. Asuka is now rushing towards the biggest party with the most clues about demons. Asuka only trusted Fudo, so he planned to take him along to reveal the truth about demons to the public. However, Asuka had more than one objective in mind, but the innocent Fudo agreed without hesitation. Once they arrived at the party, they were surrounded by scenes of filth, providing a perfect hiding place for demons. To quickly identify the demons, Asuka smashed a bottle and charged into the crowd, attacking anyone he saw. He believed that everyone attending the party was guilty, which justified his frantic actions. He intended to attract demons by such means. The blood-filled hall quickly became the stage for demons to appear. In an instant, all the demons manifested and indiscriminately slaughtered the people around them. Asuka quickly grabbed a camera and started recording, but soon, he found himself surrounded by the demons as well. Fudo wanted to run over and save him, but just as he turned around, a demon suddenly appeared. With Fudo on the verge of being consumed by the demon, a thunderous lightning struck from the sky. In that moment, Fudo felt an overwhelming surge of power coursing through his body. His sole thought was to engage in a frenzy of killing, with the demons before him becoming his targets for release. Asuka watched this hellish scene unfold before him, knowing that Fudo had transformed into Amon, the most brutal and violent demon in the world. The next day, Fudo had no recollection of what happened the previous night. Not only had his appearance changed, but his personality had become extremely wild as well. To sustain his body's high energy consumption, he had to eat large amounts of food every day. On the day of the track team's test, Fudo unexpectedly broke the world record with a bizarre running posture. He had become the idol of the school, and even the towel he used to wipe his sweat became an object of contention among girls. After school, Fudo and Mickey walked home together. Mickey asked him how he had changed so much within a day. In truth, Fudo didn't know what was happening to him. He always felt an inexhaustible power within his body. Soon, they arrived at the riverside from yesterday. Unexpectedly, the group of delinquents was also there. They immediately recognized Fudo and surrounded him, but in the next moment, Fudo felt a desire to kill. He forcibly suppressed this urge and quickly threw them into the river. It was then that he realized there might be a demon inside him, so he sprinted all the way to Asuka's house. Asuka knew the purpose of his visit and proceeded to tell him about the events of that night. It turned out that inside him was King Amon, Satan's first general. That night, Fudo transformed into the demon Amon. Unconsciously, he had hunted down and killed all the demons at the party, saving the people. Moreover, Fudo had suppressed Amon's will and gained the power of the underworld. Now, he had a demon's body and a human soul, making him a devilman capable of controlling demons. Fudo felt that he was perhaps lucky to have suppressed Amon's will. If there ever came a day when he started harming humans like a demon, he asked Asuka to kill him immediately. At that moment, Asuka's secretary brought food. Fudo couldn't help but gaze at her twisted buttocks. To distract himself, Fudo began to eat and drink excessively. Because his body is now consuming a lot of energy, he was always hungry. Meanwhile, on the other side, a man was being devoured by 3 crazed demons. Watching the demons feast on the man were Cyrene and Kame, who had come to find King Amon. Fudo and Asuka were rushing to the newly discovered location of the demons. At this moment, 3 demons were playing with humans like toys. However, all of this was captured by a journalist hiding there. Originally, Nagasaki had come to film videos of the delinquents fighting, but he accidentally recorded the scene of the 3 demons transforming. The demons noticed the infrared light in the distance, and were about to investigate when Fudo arrived in a hurry. Although Fudo became a devilman, his kindness remained unchanged. That's why he could suppress Amon's will within him. Seeing humans being slaughtered by demons once again, he was filled with anger. The 3 demons, upon seeing Fudo transform into Amon, didn't even have the courage to resist. In an instant, Fudo killed them all. They never understood why Amon, a fellow demon, would kill them. Meanwhile, Nagasaki, who was witnessing everything, quickly fled. Asuka wanted to chase after him, but it was already too late. Nagasaki looked at the footage of the demons he had recorded, and felt like he was about to strike it rich. The next day, Nagasaki immediately brought the recording to his company, but the boss believed it was all fake and didn't believe him. Angry, Nagasaki left with the recording. Little did he know that the company boss was already under the control of the demons. Nagasaki called his girlfriend. It turns out his girlfriend is Miki. Nagasaki wanted to learn about Fudo's situation through Miki, so he invited her to his house, but Nagasaki didn't notice the water demon behind him, and in the next moment, he was devoured. Meanwhile, Asuka was investigating Nagasaki's whereabouts, and quickly found his photo. At a glance, Fudo recognized him. At that moment, Miki, drenched in rain, arrived at Nagasaki's house. Unaware that Nagasaki was already under the control of demons, while Miki was bathing, the demon invaded her body. Fudo also arrived at Nagasaki's place, but it was Miki who opened the door and embraced him naked. Fudo didn't notice the demon behind her, but just as the demon was about to attack, Asuka arrived and shot it dead. Realizing the danger, Miki immediately fled. Fudo caught up with her and pinned her down. He absorbed the demon inside her body. The water demon tried to control Fudo after entering his body, but Fudo had the molten lava like hellfire within him. The demon couldn't handle it and fled. Fudo quickly captured it. After retrieving the videotape, the matter was resolved. On that day, Fudo's mother was preparing to come back and surprise him, but his father had been taken over by a demon. He went on a rampage, mercilessly killing everyone on a bus, including Fudo's mother. Fudo and Asuka waited at the airport for their parents for a long time, but they never showed up. Then Fudo received a call from his mother, but there was no sound on the other end. Asuka traced the phone's location to the airport maintenance yard. Realizing that something was not right, they immediately rushed over. Opening the gate, they saw Fudo's mother's face in the darkness. She told Fudo that she was already dead and felt guilty for not taking care of him all these years. At that moment, several faces emerged from the darkness, their heads seeming to be attached to something. Fudo's father, who had turned into a demon, appeared as well. It turned out that the people he had killed had become a part of his body. Fudo couldn't believe that the demon was his own father. Overcome with anger, he transformed into Devilman. Fudo shouted his father's name, hoping that he could suppress the demon inside him with his willpower. But just as he was about to succeed, the demon in his father's body used its tail to decapitate him. Taking full control of the body, Fudo's mother urged him to kill his father, but Fudo hesitated. At that moment, Asuka arrived and told Fudo that the faces of those people were now death masks on the demon's body. In a fit of anger and pain, Fudo defeated the demon. Looking at the childhood photos of himself on his mother's phone, his hatred for demons reached its peak. Meanwhile, Kame had discovered that Amon was inside Fudo's body. Cyrene, unable to bear loneliness, was waiting for the return of the demon king Amon. Ever since Fudo's parents were killed, Kame had been desperately searching for demons. One day, he arrived at Asuka's house, dragging his weary body. Asuka looked at Fudo's defeated state and suggested a different way for him to vent his emotions. He then handed Fudo 2 stacks of cash. Fudo arrived at the famous red light district, but with his frightening appearance, no woman dared to approach him. Suddenly, a voice called out to him from the side. Fudo turned his head and saw a seductive beauty. However, this beauty was none other than Cyrene. She had come to awaken the demon inside Fudo. She wanted Amon to seize control of his body. Cyrene had been calling out to Amon, but his will had been suppressed by Fudo. Cyrene had no choice but to kill Fudo. At this moment, Fudo also regained his consciousness. Rather than indulging in desires, he became more interested in hunting down demons. Countless iron pieces came flying towards him. Fudo tried to dodge, but his arm was cut off. In the darkness, Fudo was in a passive position, constantly under attack by Cyrene. Then Cyrene revealed the truth to Fudo. It turned out that his parents were killed by demons, all arranged by Cyrene. Enraged, Fudo instantly appeared behind her and forcefully pulled, ripping off half of Cyrene's head. Just then, Kame, who had always admired Cyrene, arrived. He immediately unleashed a shocking thunderbolt, striking Fudo out of the air. Cyrene's body was on the verge of death. Kame asked her to merge with him. Although he would also die after the fusion, he was willing to dedicate everything to Cyrene. Kame shattered his own head, allowing Cyrene to merge with him, becoming his new head. Just as Fudo was about to escape, Cyrene pierced through his body. His lower body had already been shattered by Cyrene, and even his demonic form had turned into a human body. The next day, it was Asuka who awakened Fudo. By then, his lower body and severed hand had already healed. Fudo didn't understand why Cyrene hadn't killed him. Soon, Asuka helped Fudo to approach Cyrene. It was clear that Cyrene no longer had any life left in her. Her love for Amon had saved Fudo's life, and it was Kame's love for Cyrene that allowed her to overcome the strongest demon. She passed away with pride, having exhausted all her energy. Is there love between demons? At this moment, Fudo gained a new understanding of demons. This girl appears to be average, but the way she ran deeply fascinated me. Her name was Kuroda. Like Fudo, she had been possessed by a demon after attending that party. However, she had managed to suppress the demon within her and could utilize its power. She wanted to make a name for herself in this competition. Meanwhile, Asuka decided to expose the existence of demons by taking advantage of this sports event. His target was Akita, the star of the competition. As Asuka had long suspected that he harbored a demon within him, Asuka then asked Fudo to drink the potion on the table. Fudo didn't hesitate to drink it. In the next moment, Fudo transformed directly into Devilman. The potion had the ability to reveal the true form of the demon within a person. Fudo planned to make Akita drink the potion before the competition and broadcast the existence of demons to the world. Asuka, acting as a sponsor, invited Akita and effortlessly made him consume the potion. The competition began, with Akita challenging 4 other participants in a relay race. He easily surpassed the other competitors, but when Kuroda took the stage, she unleashed the power of the demon, sprinting at an incredible speed. In that moment, Fudo also joined the race. The 3 of them ran in a bizarre manner on the field, captivating the spectators in the stands. Asuka took immediate action. He manipulated the screens throughout the venue to display the bloody scenes from the previous party. Akita was shocked by the graphic content in the video, and under the influence of the potion, the demon within him erupted uncontrollably. The demon acted without restraint, crashing into anyone in its path. In an instant, blood and flesh scattered across the competition field. Asuka initiated a live broadcast from the scene, announcing the existence of demons to the world. The demon incident shook the entire world. After achieving his goal, Asuka ordered Fudo to kill Akita. Fudo transformed into Devilman and flew into the air, carrying Akita with him. Since Asuka revealed the existence of demons, humanity has been swept up in a frenzy of hunting and killing demons. Anyone suspected of being a demon, regardless of age, would be mercilessly slain. Fudo observed this chaotic world and couldn't help but question how things had escalated to this point. He confronted Asuka, asking why the situation had reached such an extreme, but Asuka responded coldly, saying that in the war between demons and humans, it was normal for some people to die. Fudo felt deeply disappointed by Asuka's indifference. He then went to see Akita and provided him with some necessities. As it turned out, Fudo hadn't killed Akita because he believed Akita was also a kind-hearted devilman. However, devilmen like them were now in an awkward position, rejected by both humans and demons. Fudo decided to gather all the devilmen like himself because he believed that unity would provide greater safety. On the other side, Mickey's younger brother, Taro, began to undergo changes in his body. One day, their mother took him out shopping, only to discover that Taro had suddenly disappeared. When she found him, his mouth was stained with blood, and there were dog corpses scattered around. She realized that her son had turned into a devilman. If she were to tell others, her son would surely be put to death. So, she sent a farewell message to Mickey and her husband and left with Taro. Meanwhile, Fudo once again found Asuka and questioned him about his actions. Asuka stated that humanity had brought their situation upon themselves. He had merely exposed the existence of demons to the world. And humans, in their quest to hunt and kill demons, had even killed millions of innocent civilians. In the eyes of humans, Fudo himself was a demon, and being just one person, he couldn't change anything. Asuka advised Fudo to join him and watch the downfall of humanity together, but Fudo refused to believe Asuka's words. Even if he was alone, he would use love to inspire humanity. The two of them parted ways in disagreement. When Fudo returned home, he learned that Mickey's mother had already taken Taro and left. He was about to go out and search for them when Mickey's father stopped him. He asked Fudo to stay home and take care of Mickey. Then he turned around and left. By the time Mickey's father found them, Taro had already transformed into a demon and was devouring his own wife. Faced with this horrific scene, Mickey's father didn't know what to do. He was in great agony and wanted to shoot Taro, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Just then, the military arrived and executed them on the spot. When Fudo arrived, it was already too late. Fudo took their bodies to a hill and buried them. Suddenly, a group of demons surrounded Fudo. They wanted to awaken Amon within him. Fudo swiftly fought back, but due to his previous gunshot wounds, he was at a disadvantage in several rounds of combat. This demon named Shinjiro was an old rival of Amon and wanted to take this opportunity to prove himself against Amon. Time quickly passed, and it was deep into the night. Fudo, battered and wounded, was forced back into his human form. Just as Shinjiro was about to deliver the final blow to Fudo, a voice stopped him in his tracks. It turned out to be Asuka's secretary, who was also a demon. She conveyed that Fudo couldn't be killed, as it was the will of their superior. While the demons were momentarily stunned, Kuroda transformed into his demon form and rescued Fudo. The demons didn't pursue him. However, they captured Akita, who was hiding behind a wall. But Akita had already made up his mind to join the ranks of the demons. Since devilmen like them were not accepted by humans, he thought it would be better to become a demon outright. On the other side, Asuka felt that something strange had been happening to him recently. It was as if there was another soul within his body. He carefully recalled the dangerous encounter at the party with Fudo when he had said, "Amon, quickly possess Fudo's body." Asuka realized something was wrong. He decided to investigate the ancient tribe he had visited last month with his professor. At that moment, Asuka suddenly remembered what the professor had told him before his death. The professor had come to investigate Asuka. This revelation made Asuka doubt his own body once again. Asuka finally arrived at the ancient tribe's settlement. He recalls burying the professor here, but he couldn't even find his bones. Suddenly, a tribal child appeared and saw Asuka. The child started dancing and repeatedly uttered the word Satan. Other tribe members emerged as well, and they led Asuka to a sacred place within the tribe. There, he found a statue that looked identical to him. Asuka stared at the statue, and memories flooded his mind. Astonishingly, Asuka's true identity is that of Satan, the Demon King. Just as he regained his memories, an airplane dropped a bomb on him from above, and soldiers swiftly surrounded the area. However, a massive energy sphere formed around Asuka, shielding him from the bullets. In the next moment, the bullets inexplicably changed direction and started shooting the soldiers. Moreover, every soldier killed turned into a demon. At that moment, Asuka's secretary descended from the sky. She then spoke, "I've come to retrieve you." Meanwhile, Fudo was supported by Kuroda as they returned home. Seeing Mickey's anxious expression, Fudo didn't hide the truth and told her that her family had all died. Upon hearing this, Mickey remained silent and quietly retreated to her room. Fudo, on the other hand, cried out in pain when Mickey returned to her room. Finally, she couldn't hold back her tears and cried. Just then, everyone's phones started ringing. It's a government news bulletin. A video began to play, featuring Asuka himself, who would explain how demons were born, and how to eliminate them before they transformed into demons. Asuka said that the demons are transformed humans. Anyone dissatisfied with society could potentially become a demon. If someone close to you suddenly becomes a different person, then he must be a demon. Please kill him immediately. This would address the problem at its source. Then, he played a video of Fudo transforming into a demon. After the news ended, the people in the room quickly grabbed their guns. Even though Fudo tried to explain that he still retained his humanity, no one trusted him. At that moment, Mickey descended from upstairs, and chose to believe in Fudo, because she knew the Fudo standing before her was undoubtedly kind-hearted. At that moment, the police, who had received the news, prepared to apprehend Fudo. However, Fudo swiftly ascended into the sky, determined to find Asuka and seek answers. As he flew, Fudo noticed a chaotic scene unfolding in a nearby square. People had started to violently harm those around them. Without hesitation, Fudo positioned himself in front of the victims and shouted for an end to the senseless killings. However, people are unwilling to believe what a demon says. He endured the stones and bottles thrown at him, tears streaming down his face. Suddenly, a young boy approached and embraced Fudo. Slowly, more and more people began to embrace him. In this way, Fudo used love to influence the crowd, calming their frenzy. Meanwhile, Mickey defended Fudo online, but she faced incessant online abuse from people who now considered her a demon as well. In the midst of this, a rock smashed through the window from outside. The frenzied mob quickly stormed into the house. Kuroda took Mickey and escaped to the rooftop. As they were on the verge of being surrounded, Kuroda transformed into her demon form and fought back against the attackers. Then she took Mickey and quickly fled in another direction, but the firepower behind her was too strong. Kuroda was quickly knocked to the ground. Without a choice, she instructed Mickey to escape. Kuroda chose to end her life with a gunshot. Mickey ran forward, memories flashing before her eyes like a carousel. Suddenly, a car came to a stop in front of her. Mickey turned to flee, but it was too late. On the other side, Fudo sensed that something was amiss. He hurriedly made his way back to Mickey's home. When he arrived, he witnessed a scene that filled him with despair. Mickey had been brutally dismembered, and these crazy people were celebrating by holding up her limbs. Fudo completely broke down. Who was the true demon in the end? With a furious roar, hellfire erupted from Fudo's body, reducing everyone present to ashes. Meanwhile, atop a mountain peak, Asuka patiently awaited Fudo's arrival. Soon enough, Fudo arrived, cradling Mickey's head and filled with sorrow. Standing before Asuka, Fudo loudly questioned Asuka, asking why he would betray humanity and instill horrifying thoughts that drove them mad. Asuka calmly responded, stating that humans were weak and their extinction was only natural. Fudo couldn't comprehend how Asuka, also a human, could utter such words. Asuka told Fudo that his true identity was Satan. He had once declared war against the cold and indifferent gods but was quickly defeated. After being cast out of heaven, he wandered in the dark universe until he arrived on this land. Before the birth of humanity, this planet was ruled by demons in a world where only the strongest survived. To survive in such a world, the demons evolved special abilities. They could merge with other creatures, absorbing their physical traits. Asuka was drawn to the demon's nature of pure bloodlust and decided to stay here. However, the gods did not intend to let Asuka and the other demons exist. Asuka and a few demons managed to survive, hiding their consciousness within the earth until the emergence of humanity. Asuka was reborn into a primitive tribe, his body resurrected, but his memories remained dormant. When the humans attacked the ancient tribe, Asuka repelled them but fell into the sea. After drifting for an unknown period, a warm hand reached out to him. It was a young Fudo from his childhood. This was the first time Asuka experienced warmth, and they spent a joyful childhood together. Asuka declared that Fudo was not a human but a demon. He granted Fudo the most powerful demon body, hoping they could live together in a new world. However, Fudo, whose entire family had been killed, harbored only hatred towards Asuka. Fudo swiftly transformed into Devilman, flames erupting from his entire body. Behind Asuka, a multitude of demons also emerged. Fudo informed Asuka that when they meet again, he would surely kill him. Fudo buried Mickey's remains, and suddenly, a swarm of demons appeared behind him. It turned out that they were Devilmen gathered by Mickey through the internet, who also wished to fight alongside Fudo against the demons. And so, the epic battle between Devilman and the demons began. At the same time, humans initiated their own war. Throughout the world, fires and gun smoke raged incessantly. Asuka flew through the sky, observing the erupted global conflict. He had already decided that after annihilating humanity, he would once again declare war on the gods. Just then, humans spotted Asuka in the sky, and countless missiles were launched towards him. However, Asuka's power was too overwhelming. With a single gaze, he deflected all the missiles. Subsequently, Asuka and his followers began slaughtering humans. This continued for an unknown period until only a small group of survivors remained in the world. Just as the demons prepared to eradicate humanity completely, Fudo arrived with an army of Devilmen. Asuka ordered his subordinates to deal with the others. He prepared for the ultimate showdown with Fudo. Asuka delivered a lightning-fast strike, severing Fudo's limbs. However, Devilman immediately sacrificed themselves to become Fudo's new limbs. Like a relay race, Devilmen continuously sacrificed themselves to provide him with P. Thus, the battle between the two unfolded, spanning from Earth to outer space. Fudo gained the upper hand, pummeling Asuka and sending him crashing into a glacier. However, in the next moment, Asuka unleashed a massive beam of light that pierced through Fudo's body. After a blinding white light subsided, the earth had become a sea of blood. Asuka and Fudo lay on a cliff, gazing at the radiant starry sky. Asuka recalled the time when they found an abandoned kitten. That kitten was barely clinging to life. Asuka thought of ending its suffering, but Fudo held onto the kitten tightly, tears streaming down his face. Asuka couldn't understand why Fudo was crying, because Fudo clearly knew that the kitten couldn't be saved. But Fudo said, "Asuka, you're also crying. You're also grieving." At that time, Asuka didn't grasp the meaning behind Fudo's words because he believed he was incapable of shedding tears. But now he realized it was love. In the end, Asuka came to understand the significance of emotions in life as a result of Fudo's death. Suddenly, the sky filled with countless orbs of light as the gods once again unleashed their divine punishment, and everything faded away, dispersing like smoke.